Hey, welcome to Road Testament. I'm Mike Spinelli. We're here today with Bill Caswell, coming up soon on Skype. You know him for changing the face of grassroots motorsports by bringing a $500 Craigslist BMW down to Rally Mexico and competing alongside WRC cars and top name drivers and doing pretty well and doing awesome stuff. Hit us up on @Drive on Twitter, where you can get in touch with Drive, and Drive can get in touch with you right back. But without further ado, Bill Caswell, the man who quit his life in the financial industry to pursue his dream of racing BMWs and rallying, doing all that stuff. He's a legend. You know him. Bill Caswell. So what the hell are you up to right now? And where are you? You're in like the Nottingham Forest or something. I don't know what is that?
This is my backyard in San Diego. It's kind of nice. I'm tucked up against the wall here, and there's like a little bird feeder. I can turn the camera if you guys want to see where I live. But it's actually not that exciting. It's kind of beige, to be honest. But next time we'll do this from my shop, where the Baja car is, the M3 is. There's a bunch of weird stuff getting built, and that electric M3 that's running up Pikes Peak is there. So we'll do some fun stuff. You won't have forest in the background next time. There'll be race cars and other cool stuff.
Sweet.
So where am I at now? Like you said, it's been 3 years. It was 3 years ago, June of 2009, that I first quit my job and started racing. It was about 9 months after that I found my way down to WRC Mexico. So in March of 2010, I entered that first race, and then since then went on to go do Pikes Peak and the Baja 1000, and I went back to Mexico the last 2 years, and this last year we came back with trophies. We finished second in two-wheel drive with these big silver WRC trophies, which was kind of nice, and the event was an absolute train wreck. I mean, we went to go leave, and the motor was cracked. So you'd think that after like 2-3 years of doing this, I'd get better at it, right? Or that I'd plan more, or that I'd stop squeezing less into the period of time that I have, but I haven't. We just went from one race to another. I think we ran 3 races in 4 weeks back in March, which was kind of nice. When that
Story first broke on Jalopnik, it just exploded. It turned out to be one of the biggest stories I think they've ever had, and for you, it just sort of launched you into the limelight. What does that say about racing? I mean, what does that say about what it is that you did that got so many people? I mean, we're talking like millions of people read that piece.
The old school dream of a kid grabbing his helmet, building a car in his garage, and showing up at the track and becoming a professional is kind of broken. Randy Popes did it in the 80s, started off autocrossing and is now a professional club racer. It does happen. It's just pretty broken. And so I think, when you look around the United States at how many thousands of kids wrench on their car every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night in anticipation for a race on Saturday, I think it's cool to get the recognition and to brought a story like that to the surface. It kind of really shows how many kids are busting their tail in their garage trying to go racing. And I think a lot of companies, manufacturers, and sponsors miss that. And it's a powerful, passionate message.
Yeah, and it's...
I don't know if that was the answer to your question.
No, it is. And really, I mean, I don't know if that is either, but the proof is that the movie, right? So Jeremy Renner, Hurt Locker, you know him from there, is producing a movie about that event, about somebody who does that grassroots thing.
Yeah, about like the theory is that I did everything right in life, right? I went to good schools, I went and got good jobs. I wanted to be a lifty in Vail. I wanted to go work chairlifts when I got out of college and just ski every day. My parents told me I was insane and put me in a bank and started working. And so a lot of this was about doing all those things in life that I never, had a chance to do, And so the movie's more about, someone who's done everything right, taken all the right jobs, the financial crisis hits and just wipes their career out from underneath them. Like the industry I was in is basically decimated. Yeah. And it was securitization, mortgage-backed securities, CDOs, all those structured finance bonds. So what do you do? And it's sort of about like when your life gets shaken up, take some time to go enjoy it. Take some time to go enjoy your dreams, to go see those things you never got a chance to see. And I got really lucky, right? But I showed up in Mexico. Even after they rejected my application, I just put the car in the trailer and towed the couple thousand miles there. And when they saw me, they started laughing. They were like, dude, we rejected your application. You can't race here. But, sometimes you got to try, right? What's super cool about this, Mike, is that Renner is an awesome guy. He's a car guy. He's a motorcycle guy. He's way into Triumphs. He's got a Porsche 914 with a 350 stuffed in the back that he keeps ripping the engine out from like doing wheel stands and stuff in. I mean, he's a car guy that bought a car movie. Yeah. That to me is exciting.
There are some Bill Caswell legends. Some of them may be true, may not be true. I'm going to sort of throw a couple by you, and you tell me if they're actually true, whether they happened or didn't happen. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so true or false, you built your own FIA legal roll cage so that you could spend money on beer, the rest of the money on beer.
Oh, God, there's so many statements in there. I built my own FIA. Yes, my roll cage did pass FIA TAC. It passed it on the first pass through. I was one of the, I think that year there was only one other car that actually made it through TAC without any re-welds or changes to the roll cage. So I was pretty proud of that. But all this stuff's online, man. It's just Google like FIA Rule 253 Appendix J, and there's 30 pages on what your roll cage should look like. You just make it fit all those rules. They tell you like 100 millimeters from this and 100 millimeters from that, and you build the cage. Did I do it to spend more money on beer? No, I figured I'd be writing off a lot of rally cars. I figured I'd be throwing them into the woods like event after event after event. And if I can buy the cars for $500 and fix them like in a night or two in my garage, really my biggest expense is a fabrication shop knocking out the cages, and they all have these like 2-3 week lead times, and I can do it in like 2-3 days. So I figured I'd just buy a tube bender and a welder, and I built my own cages more just because of the speed of it, right? The quickness of it. And it's fun, man. Like, I got a big flat panel TV in the garage. We got, cable and an Apple TV. My friends come over and we're cranking tunes. And we're watching car racing movies and welding together roll cages. Like, I can't think of a better way to spend my night. And I'm doing it in my mom's garage. Like, my mom comes out and is like, I think I'm going to order some pizza for dinner. I mean, it's just, it couldn't be better. And at age, 38 to have been back at my mom's house for a year, hanging out with all my friends like it was high school was kind of special.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it. And as far as the free beer, now, did I have like a good job? Like, I could have, when I quit, I had tons of cash. I could have dropped off like 3 shells and had them all caged if I wanted to. It was more about doing it myself. It was more about learning to do it myself, and it was more about me wanting to build my own rally car.
Well, I mean, maybe there's not to get too far into this, but maybe there is a bigger question about, sort of the same thing as like the DIY movement anywhere else, or hackers. I mean, you literally, you're one guy with a welding kit who hacked an FIA capable roll cage because everything's out there, sort of open source, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is out there. You just need to go do it. We should step back for a second. I think a lot of people miss sort of my background. They think that I quit my finance job, bought a welder, tube bender, a car, and just started racing. And Rally Tennessee was the first time I was ever in a competition vehicle. So prior to the 5 years of investment banking, the 2 years of business school, I was like a weekend warrior. I was entering SCCA, Midwestern Council events in the Midwest. I was autocrossing every weekend. I still have stacks of my autocross rubber sitting in the basement. And, I had a lot of time with cars, and I lived above a Barnes & Noble. And I was way into chess. I was playing a ton of chess, and I ran out of modern chess books to read. And I was wandering around, and I found this car section. And that's what started this whole thing. So all my knowledge came from those couple of years living above a Barnes & Noble. I read every book in the automotive section, 2 books on welding, 3 books on body shop, 2 books on engines, a book on turbocharging. I don't even have a turbocharger. It just seemed relevant to learn about how air gets forced into an engine and can reach its terminal velocity and restrict your plate. It all starts to add up,
Yeah.
So I had a little bit more knowledge than just buying the welder and setting into it. I get a message probably once a week from someone on Facebook looking to do the same thing. And I got to remind them that roll cage is the last thing that protects them from dying. It is the final thing that saves their life, right? So unless they're super comfortable with their welds. And I tell them, look, would you be comfortable building one of those steel octagon things they drop eggs in high school? You build a little egg crate, you put the egg in it and drop it?
Yeah.
Do they feel comfortable building one of those for a human being and dropping it off a building with them in it? Because if they do, then weld your own cage. Go for it. I feel confident enough in my welds that I would be willing to do that.
Yeah. Okay, Caswell Legend 2. At Rally Mexico, you asked Ken Block to loan you a pair of racing shoes.
That is correct. That happened the second year with Ron Erickson. Ron is in his senior year of college, kind of, at the time, really didn't have any money at all. I flew him down to the event to be my co-driver. And I should step back for a second. I did that because Ron, I barely knew him. I got a message from him saying, you're going to need help. I'm going to drive through the night to help you. I'll see you at STPR. He lived in Missouri and drove to eastern Pennsylvania, shut up at 4 a.m, slept in the back of the enclosed trailer with us for 2 hours, got up, and he had the welder fired up before I was back from the bathroom. Right? So Next thing you know, he's welding on the car. The dude's a machine, and we blew our motor like on the second stage, rod bearing spun, whatever. We were out. I was so happy for Ron. I'm like, dude, you got to start racing with me. Flew down to Mexico, but he didn't have his own safety gear. I know, long answers to simple questions, but I brought my old pair of racing shoes for Ron to use, and the FIA tech inspector started playing with them. They pulled back a piece of rubber, and they pulled back a piece of leather, and he stuck his finger down through like this hole, and next thing you know, his finger's inside the shoe. And he's like, yeah, sorry, these aren't legal, right? So you're down in Mexico, you need to find a pair of FIA racing shoes. What do? Well, you go to the only other American you know in the entire service park, Ken Block, and you say, hey, Ken, man, you've got the entire Ford WRC team back there. Someone's got to have a pair of shoes. We don't care what size they are. They're for the co-driver. Just get us some leather Nomex shoes. And, Ken had to make sure it was okay. But, yeah, sure enough, Ron Erickson has a pair of shoes worn by Ken Block. They're his old used shoes. They were worn the first year he was in the WRC, and now they're on Ron Erickson's shelf, and he continues to race with them. Yeah, we borrowed shoes from Ken Block, and he was super awesome about it. Him and Derek, great guys.
Well, and that's interesting. How when you were down there, how did the other, the big pro WRC drivers, how did they respond to you kind of showing up there and doing like full lock slides through the spectator stages? I mean,
it's wild that at first it was kind of like, what the hell is this? And it was really the case from like all the organizers of the whole service park. Like the first day, people were like, what the hell? Like almost annoyed. Because clearly we had no team. We had to do everything ourselves. And we showed up, we had to get the car through tech. We had to like register. We had to get the stickers on the car. We had to get the GPS installed. Like normally a team shows up with 20 guys and each guy gets the task. Well, there's just 2 of us, right? So we're trying to do everything at once. We're installing the GPS. We're on the way to tech. Like everything's a mess. And people were kind of annoyed. But then by the second day, we're still in it. I'm wrenching like mad on the car. And they see us jump out during a 20-minute service stop. I peel my suit down, fire up the tunes on the iPod, and start changing tires. People start smiling. They're like, this is a little retarded. But they kind of like it, right? And by the third day, we had a crowd around the car. People super amped up watching us. And that same emotion was kind of true of the WRC drivers, right? Like, some guys took some amazing pictures of Petter Solberg and Sebastian Loeb checking out my car at like 7 a.m. in the service park with huge grins on their face and expressions like, they're like, what is this? And there's these great pictures of us in the service park. And then the super awesome thing about WRC is, especially in Mexico, they have this amazing after party after the end of the 3 days. It's just the WRC drivers and the teams. So then I actually got to like hang out with Solberg. And I didn't really hang out with Loeb too much, but hang out with like Mads and Miko, and they're all like, dude, you're driving a rear-wheel drive rally car. And right then I get a high five. Like they're just like, dude, rear-wheel drive rally car, And the Ford guys who work on Ken's team came up to me and they're like, man, we were out on the stage today. You came through so sideways, dude. I mean, just totally out of control, over the crest, just awesome. And I'm like, so it looked good? And they're like, well, I mean, you're slow. Like, but yeah, it looked awesome, right? And that's just it. I'm like, guys, I'm in like a 240 horsepower rear wheel drive car on stock suspension. I run Bilstein HDs, right? Just like you buy from the local retailer, right? These guys are on like $10,000 shocks per corner. They can just run over everything. So, but yeah, the reaction was really cool. The reaction was super awesome to have guys that are like my heroes that I've been watching on TV since I was 16. High five me or give me a hug and buy me a beer, or say like, hey, Caswell, I'll buy the first 2 buckets of beer. Let's go run around this party. You get the second 2 buckets. It's like another WRC driver. I spent the night like running around crushing beers with them, hanging out with everyone. Like that to me was the biggest recognition of my work. Not the movie, not anything else, but to be at a party with all the other drivers who I would like to consider my peers, but in reality, dude, they're faster. They've dedicated their whole lives to this. They're in $500,000 rally cars. I mean, we're similar in that we have the same pursuit for the same passion, but very different in how we went about getting there. It's cool to get that recognition.
Yeah.
Wow, you're gonna have to edit the hell out of this.
Well, it's better to have more than less. Also, all right. So one last Caswell legend story. So the legend is that you once almost got into a bar fight because one thing that your fans tend to do is, just like a punk rock band, they plaster your stickers all over the place. So how close were you to getting into a bar fight because of your fans and the stickers?
Really close, I would say. the Monster World Rally team was like, dude, Caswell, I think you got a problem. You need to like get out of here. I mean, it wasn't just me. I just kept laughing it off. I'm like, dude, they're just stickers. Like, it's no big deal. And yeah, you're right. I print stickers by the 5 and 10,000 quantity, and they're free at races. I sell them on my website, but if you're at the race, yeah, I hand you stacks for free. And people like to put them places, and people like to tag things like porta potties and stuff that gets cleaned and removed. It's not like a permanent defacing of someone's property, but yeah, one of the guys watching the rally freaked out, and another driver of another rally car freaked out, and I walked into the bar, and I'm looking one way, and he, knocked me to the ground, knocked me clean to the ground in the bar, and I got up, and I'm like, what the hell's your problem? He's like, I'm just so sick and tired of all your stickers. And I just started laughing. I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Like, a 20-cent sticker is driving you to this kind of anger? Like, why don't you redirect it to something positive? Like, maybe, build another rally car, entering another event. Like, maybe you shouldn't be in a bar getting hammered, pushing people around. But, yeah, it got really, really bad. And the owner of the bar is super awesome and loves me. We were hanging out there the night before, and he has like a huge stack and was trying to tag his fans at high speed in the bar, which was kind of amusing. You were trying to put a sticker on a fan spinning at like a couple hundred RPMs. He kicked him out, and they called all their friends, and there was like a whole posse of guys in pickup trucks out in the parking lot in rural Missouri waiting for me. And that's when someone pulled up on their phone that a man was shot and killed in that parking lot 6 months earlier. And so now I'm going, wait, okay, someone died right out there? I'm like, yeah, and they're like, there's like 20 people out there waiting to kill us because of some stickers? And then my co-driver's like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way. And he runs out the door. He doesn't even get a foot out the door and sees the crowd and comes back in. It's like, dude, we got a problem. So yeah, I called the state police. I don't know what else to do. We're in like full Missouri. So I called the state police. 3 squad cars showed up and escorted us out of the bar. We didn't have a car there. Because remember, I drove my rally car to the race, and then I flipped it over in the woods, and then I had it towed to some kid's front yard and left it there. So I actually didn't have a way home. So the cops were like, where's your car? And I'm like, oh, that guy's? And I picked a random guy's car, got in, and pegged him to take me and Paul Donlin to the Holiday Inn, which they did. So, yeah, things happen.
So things happen on the road. So, all right, one question which came from a reader, and this sort of goes into a bigger question. Would you ever enter the Dakar rally?
Oh, I love Dakar. That's how the Baja thing started. Yeah. Right. So I went up to go see Miller Welders, like a 2-day meeting, and again, long answers to short questions, Mike. But I go up to the Miller meeting, and they want to take me to this fancy Italian restaurant. We're in Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm like, this is insane. Where's like the bratwurst bar with beer, right? And sure enough, they're like, yeah, we never eat there. And we go to this little bar, and we proceed to get really drunk. And after, beers and beers and beers, Miller's like, so what do you want to do? What is it after you've done WRC Mexico? What's next? I'm like, well, there's this guy named Schlesser, and he built this buggy of his own design that was half truck, half buggy, and he went to Paris-Dakar and just dominated, right? I'd like to build my own bizarre BMW buggy and run it in Paris-Dakar. And I started to lay out the design for the whole thing. And they were all mouth open. I didn't realize they were taking me seriously. I just thought they thought I was really insane and maybe they made a terrible mistake. And the night ends. I come back in for the next day of meetings. And they're like, Kaz, we've bagged the entire second day of schedule. We've got something else we want to talk to you about. We'd like you to build your Paris-Dakar thing, but we'd like you to build it on the floor of SEMA. Instead of going to Paris-Dakar, go to the Baja 1000. The problem is you've got 14 days, right? And so, that's how the Baja 1000 thing started. A lot of people, after they saw that, said, hey, do you want to go to Dakar? It was really, I wanted to go to Dakar and got to Baja. So, yeah, without a doubt, I want to go to Dakar. My co-driver, Ben Slocum, entered last year with Rill, another rally driver, and they said it was amazing, time of their lives. It's $20,000 entry fee. I got to ship a car down there, and I need a month of my life to live out of a tent. Yeah. But I don't know. We've driven the Baja car home every 1,000 race. I've been able to make repairs in the desert and get the car to a hotel or back home. So, Min 400, I blew the clutch up. I didn't drive that home. I take that back.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So Paris-Dakar should be my thing, man. Limited tools, limited spares. Give me a welder, stick me in the desert, and give me 21 days to finish an event.
That's it. That's the Caswell profile. So the Caswell legend lives on. What's next for you? And what about the movie? How's that coming out?
Sure. the movie is moving along really well. The good news is that one of the producers and the script writer came down to WRC Mexico this year and spent the entire weekend talking to the WRC team, seeing the service park, seeing my service area, checking out the stages, checking out how a WRC event works, seeing the contrast between us low budget teams and the full WRC teams, and as a result of that, substantially rewrote a large part of the script. So hopefully the movie's getting better, and then the next step is casting and production schedules, and we move forward. But Paramount started writing some serious checks, so they're committed and on board. This isn't like Paramount optioned my life rights. They've actually exercised the option, purchased them, we're moving forward. So that's great. As far as like what's next for me, I don't really know, man. I've been doing this for 3 years. Every time I get in front of someone like you, or I get in front of Jalopnik or Facebook, I'm like, what should I do next, guys? Because I've run the biggest rally in North America, WRC Mexico. I've run the largest hill climb in North America, Pikes Peak. I've run the largest off-road race in North America, the Baja 1000. I've entered some of the rallies that I've always wanted to run. I ran a circle track event up in Michigan and a little NASCAR thing. It was a riot. Like, I've been kind of doing these things. I want to get over to Europe and race. I want to start running some bizarre events. I want to go do like the Targa Florio recreation. Even if it's not like true modern racing, I want to go do some of these events that I read about in books like The Limit and stuff like that. And so next up for me is Pikes Peak. I've got that at the beginning of July. I had an amazing, ridiculously fast car lined up, and of course this is racing and things happen, and not all the cash made to the table, and I don't have that ride anymore. So I was offered an RX-8 yesterday by a World Challenge team, which is super cool. And another guy's offered me his car to run up, a BMW to run up the mountain. And I might prep my car. I haven't figured that out yet. But I just committed to running 24 Hours of Lemons at Button Willow at the end of the month here in Southern California, which should be fun. That race ends Sunday, and then I've got 48 hours to make tech at Pikes Peak on Tuesday. I'm most excited about Targa, Newfoundland. The event's iffy for me. I'm a rally driver. I'm used to timed rally stages with actual real times. Targa Newfoundland's like this Mickey Mouse timing thing where like they adjust your time by a coefficient. So like you might have finished in 5 minutes, but you're 83% of your time. And this, regardless, it's a week-long tarmac rally in Newfoundland, Canada. I'm running it in an E46 M3 with Horst Reinhardt of VR Performance. They've got the car in Michigan. Their shop's prepping it. You guys should go check out VR Performance. Am I allowed to plug people? It's their car. They're putting me in it for Targa. I'm super, super excited. We're paid, registered, and ready to rock. So those are my next 3 motorsport events. And then I'm looking for a job. It's been 3 years, dude. Yeah. 3 years of me just running around the country partying. I just got back from the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. Le Mans coming up. I want to go see WRC Finland at the end of July. But I can't just keep doing this. Dude, no one's going to pay me to run around and just party.
Someone's got to pay you to live the dream, and it's going to happen. I know it. Bill freaking Caswell on Road Testament. Good to see you,
my
man.
Screen glitched out, Mike.
Yo, I'll talk to you soon.
Yo, is that good?
Yep, that was good.
All right, man.
That was great.
All right, I ramble a lot, dude.
No, that's cool. Well, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, just edit it out. Just fade and blend. Even pull it in there and be like, Caswell goes on forever.
Thanks, Bill. And remember, if you've got a job for Bill Caswell that'll let him do whatever the hell he wants, and you'll pay him for it, just call us and get in touch with us on Twitter or something, and we'll let him know. Thanks. That's Road Testament this week. We'll see you guys next week. Later.